This week on Hermitcraft.
Is a bee swarm?
Oh, look at it! That's how it generates bees! Oh no, Coffin! Oh no!
Welcome to the Hermitcraft RECAP. My name is PixelRiffs, our writer is LoyXP, and this week in a special event, the Hermits took to the plains for a 6-team Twitch Rivals contest called Hermit Raiders. In the studio today, we are lucky to welcome one of the commentators of the event, PixelRiffs. Now PixelRiffs, tell us about your time co-hosting this awesome event. Well, it was a lot of fun. Thanks, PixelRiffs. Really insightful comments. In all seriousness, congrats to the Hermits on a spectacular show. Big thanks to Joe Hills for being a wonderful co-commentator, and well done to Iskal and XB for bringing home the win. We're looking forward to seeing whether Doc M wants a rematch. And with that out of the way, let's take a look at all the events and mishaps that occurred on the Hermitcraft server this week. Starting with Tinfoil Chef, who had to be first because there are a lot of firsts in this episode. Getting to grips with the new materials in 1.17, TFC smelts a bunch of copper and decides to build the foundations of his Redux Tower out of deep slate. Then he builds a door in the side leading out to the Nether portal and takes his first steps into the Nether hub, where he's more confused by the surroundings than you might expect, and not just because of the upside down security guards. You see, since his base was fairly close to the shopping district in Season 7, and he didn't get to participate much last season because of personal circumstances, this was TFC's first experience of the Nether since Update 1.16, which means the basalt delta they're building the hub in was an alien landscape.
Netherrack looks different again. The only biome in the Nether was hell.
Returning to the overworld from this fresh new hell, TFC outlines his plans to turn the ground floor of his tower into an enormous tree farm. Speaking of which, having brought the thunder last week, RenDog lays the foundations for a TNT tree farm, powered by the boom boom of a nearby creeper farm. With all his gunpowder mashing up with sand for organic, non-duplicated, all-natural TNT, Ren still decides the Yes Wings Club is more in his wheelhouse, because his builds this season have been on the tall side. It's also instrumental in his personal challenge of taking down the Wither in the least cheesy way possible. Ren goes mano a mano with the Wither in an epic replay montage, and returns beacon in hand for the Octo Chopper's debut. With all that wood providing chests to match Doc M's absurd number of shulker shells, the duo are poised to box in the shulker market once and for all.
I mean, I just can't get over it, even after all of these years playing this game. After a solid week of grinding the Octochopper, seeing it actually function and work and do what it's supposed to do, I don't know, man. It's a feeling you just can't beat.
At 265 days of ignoring her elytra, GeminiTay finally breaks and grabs a membership at the Flight Club.
I don't know if I'm feeling the extra challenge anymore. I think the challenge makes a lot of sense for the Hermits who have been around for a really long time. But I'm on my first season of Hermitcraft, and to be honest, I want to fly.
The deer that broke the camel's back is an organic statue Gem wanted for her wonderful base. The wings will come in handy for the rest of the megastructure as well, now that she has filled in the wireframe of it well beyond the point of no fall damage. Lucky then that she and FalseSymmetry decided to strip the swamp between the two of them of foliage, because that's a nice supply of stripped logs for the gradient, and an even nicer view opening up at their area.
It looks really good. I think we're definitely going to have to see this now, right?
Yeah, we should be able to.
But the swamplands take another hit of terraforming when iJevin reveals his plans for this season's base. Amidst the marsh, Jevin cuts out a large circle meant to be later dug out to the bedrock. The cylinder will then be filled with a fog effect leading into a slime abyss, filled with the usual basey things. In the meantime, his slime shop has been making a profit enough to catch evil Xizuma's attention, and having already promised to uproot the Hermitcraft economy a couple of times, Jevin lets him into his life and allows Derpcoin to be traded at his slime shop.
And Jevin, thank you for embracing me.
Absolutely, man. We should convene at a later time, and
Oh, yes.
you know.
On the other hand, Zombie Cleo hears evil Xisuma out, nodding along the whole time, drops by to visit the Derpcoin shop, and then promptly bans any and all Derpcoin activities in her water bottle gym.
Now you're getting the picture.
I think I'm getting the picture. Derpcoin not accepted.
The bodybuilding facility lives up to its name as Cleo builds some bodies in it, with the armor stand diorama of many patrons doing the sports as well as gaining the gains. It is a very high in build hacks video. Joe Hills is still on the lookout for build hacks himself, scouting the other hermits' homes for tips to add to his growing list of starter house possibilities.
I do like the skylight. The skylight is very, very good.
In the process, he gets a tour of Cub's basement and its questionable wallpaper, lets himself into TFC's place and almost falls down the ladder into the branch mine, thinks twice about enderpearling into Mumbo's house in case he blows up the end crystal on the roof, and gets advice from ImpulseSV about giving himself some light bedtime reading.
Joe is jocular could do, or Joe is jolly? I don't know.
Jolly. I like jolly. That works.
Joe's tour of the server doesn't stop there, observing the misleading tag signs at FalseSymmetry's place before bumping into Pearl on the road and getting an impromptu tour of her inverted boat, astonishing his host with a proper understanding of doorway etiquette.
Well, then I'll keep investigating.
Did you just use my door properly?
Wait, is that not normally done?
You just walked through my door without any problems?
Oh, should I do it more like this?
Oh no.
Is that better?
Similarly, Corrales' video for the week showcases his adventures through the past month, spanning from the Parson Gas advertisement to the completion of the BOO trap castle he and Pearlescent Moon made. The reason for his absence? Trying to catch more time with his kids before they find out that Twitter exists.
Before you know it, they're gonna be too old to hang out. They will hate you because of boomer stuff.
Pearlescent Moon has other ways of dealing with B-dubs, because B-dubs arrives with a deal of his own, renting her some llamas with chonky storage. Before she takes the offer, of course, she needs to make sure the Lamada is turning a profit. Pearl also signs up for the Yes Wings Club, although the hat fits kind of funny, which is perhaps why she also signs up for the No Wings Club. Unlike RenDog, she doesn't rely on wings to take on the Wither, and she's confident enough with the underground approach that she uses the Undead Abomination to do some casual mining.
Wax just to give it a nice old hit and finish off the job. There we go.
Of course, once the Nether Star is hers, the mining continues, and it's also she can set up a haste beacon and mine out a series of puzzle rooms for her Teg trap, which we won't spoil here since at the time of writing the Teg is still in Pearl's possession, but we can show you the tiny crawl space she had to unearth it from in iJevin's Tower of Artworks.
Anything down here? No, here's another drop. Oh no.
Now, it wasn't clear last week where Jevin got the Teg from, because Scar did find it in Treaser's mouth, and then Grian found it in there also. But as it turns out, Scar never actually took it from there, leaving it pretty much sat in the open until Grian came along and snatched it. Jevin found it in the full trap at Grian's house, and the rest is history.
And when I uploaded the video, it hit me. I'm like, I forgot to get the tag, and well, now it's gone.
All this happened under ImpulseSV's nose, but the face of his factory is getting pretty large at this point. Time-lapsing his way through walls, courtyards, parking bays, and building exteriors, the chocolate factory is starting to fit the mold he's made for it. And no Grians were harmed in the making of this business, mostly because Impulse's End Crystal Ninjutsu isn't quite up to scratch yet.
Well, it had to at least scare you, right?
I was spooked. I heard a block and I was like, wait, what? And it was too late.
Luckily, Grian is still willing to send him some andesite, just in time for Good Times with Scar to come and park the swagon on it. Assuming Scar won't miss another form of transport, Impulse takes a leaf out of his rival's books and borrows a horse to go for a gallop around the sides of the server he hasn't seen that often.
My jaw just dropped. I am in awe. What is up through here? What is the purpose of this?
Scar isn't the only salesman to show up at the factory, as Evil X stops by with the gift of Derp Coin, and Impulse isn't one to look a gift horse in the mouth, spending it on some diamonds, name tags, and cobwebs before taking his shulker boxes elsewhere. One of his destinations is Iskal85's Prismarine shop, which gets set up this week in a repurposed interior of his Teg mansion. Having already filled up his Guardian Farm storage, Iskal clears out the area under the monument for a much more organised storage system, which comes with a bonus slime farm.
Sir, this is an ocean.
The decorations give him pause for thought, and he hums his way around the server before bumping into Mumbo, getting a primer on end crystals and deciding on a mix of aged copper and prismarine. Little does he know he's leaving himself open to a waxing. VintageBeef is one of the first to volunteer for the waxing business, commissioning Scar to take a weathered approach to the redesigned interior doors of his District 9 spaceship. Beef's no stranger to getting beamed up at this point, with Doc's shulker shenanigans from last week giving him a taste of levitation, but he's making good progress thanks to iJevin dropping by with some quartz for friendship's sake.
And you have to give me nothing back besides friendship.
That's it?
That's it.
Dude, you already had that.
and Impulse offering to take some dirt off his hands, leaving Beef with time to custom design a smoking crater from which the flying saucer rises. Another sci-fi landscape is taking shape at xbCrafted's base as he carves out the first dome in his post-apocalypse colony. The noises in the walls might be some futuristic machinery at work, but it might just be the pig he trapped in there.
Because he's a jerk. Alright, dude. You're gonna be living there for the rest of your time.
His own equipment gets a little more advanced after a rough start to mining for ancient debris leads to him bringing home enough to upgrade some gear to netherite. But it's the business strategy where XB truly excels, convincing Iskall to part with his soul for iron blocks and making a deal for glass with Keralis on the condition that he also owes Horsehead Farms a debt. XB profits on all fronts. He even manages to game the system when Evil X drops off some free derp coin and XB gambles his way to a bunch of the premium coins before cashing in for diamond ore. Finally, the glass dome over his oval facility starts to take shape and the tunnels are put in place for future expansions. So now is probably a good time to tell you why it is that Evil Xisuma is running around asking people to embrace him. No, the Lord of the Underworld is not just asking for a hug, even though he could probably use one. His run-ins with the folk is but a PR campaign to invite several more of the server mates to come shop at his microtransaction shop filled with fresh loot boxes. Though he's not hit full-on gacha levels yet, Evil X does introduce premium derp coin that you can win by spending regular derp coin that you can get by spending diamonds. That entire scheme itself got Cub fanned something fierce, but we'll talk about that a little later. For now, let's instead admire regular Xisuma's handiwork on his personal network of nether tunnels, as well as the clever shulker piston wall he made for a storage system.
Then I can come along and just get it like that when I want to use it, and then when I'm done using it, I can put it back.
No stranger to redstone cleverness himself, Zedaf is found using 3 different redstone tricks to open a single iron door. Tied in the odd jobs of his enterprise, Zed realizes that he can skip a few steps by just letting his zombificator zombie loose in the villager hall, as opposed to running them to him individually.
But all the while they're in their nice little secure places, they are genuinely the most secure they could ever be, because they're not even visible. They can't even be seen.
But eventually, the traders are all scared into selling emeralds for cheap, and the cheap itself starts coming in from the villager-powered crop farm via a network of water channels and Mario pipes.
And we watch swim. Just like that!
The same ghastly fate awaits Good Times with Scars trading hall, though we have to admit not entirely intentionally. To make it up to the testificates, Scar dedicates most of his video to building a nicer interior for the villager hotel on wheels, and providing his Oompas and Loompas with at least a more livable looking conditions than most of the server would give them.
And these little hoppers over the heads of the villagers, I think will look really cool. It looks like they're kind of like sucking stuff out of it, like a pensive or something along those lines. I think will look really great.
The route of villager curing led Hypnotized off the deep end, so much so he finds himself on the roof of the Nether. With all the aspects of it sorted but the golden apples, Hypno has no choice but to establish a gold farm of his own, both to feed the sickly and to sell gold for emeralds. Though the prospect of prospecting opens an opportunity for piglin trading as well, so perhaps we haven't seen the last of the adventures of Midas's floating brick. CubFan135 has hella drip and he's not afraid to flaunt it. At an alarming rate, Cub expands his full damage canyon enough to move into it. His new hole in the ground is outfitted with enough storage to last a season, but not to hold all the triangle blocks. That's what the ground is for. Neither will it be enough to keep his riches in, because as soon as Evil Xisuma lured him into the microtransaction shop of loot boxes, Cub devised a way to get infinite premium derp coin.
And yeah, I might let Evil Xisuma know that yeah, he could be swindled out of some derp coins by just turning the pages of this book. So yeah, every single time. Just a slight exploit there, but I'm sure that can easily be fixed.
Guess the derp is on the other foot now, especially since the Hermitcraft subreddit also found ways to game the system without even the lectern exploit. See, the house always wins, just sometimes not the house you think. A different and unique way to raise the ground comes with FalseSymmetry, who decides to elevate the dirt level by her base by attaching it to a giant eagle. Guess we know who brings the babies in this universe. Unable to fly herself, False hopes that the massive bird will up the terrain by a good dozen blocks. Though she doesn't throw an open can of tuna anywhere, so I don't think it will work.
Yeah. That's about 2.5 stacks of fences for each one of those. If I complain about running out of wood, you know, You know why?
And finally, there's Mumbo, who's been avoiding making progress on Mount Amogus because terraforming really isn't in his comfort zone, but at least his shop has been doing well in the meantime.
I think this might be more diamonds than I've earned in all of the previous Hermitcraft seasons combined.
Finally getting up the courage to tackle the boulders head on, the new moss mechanics and a truckload of leaves give him a bit more confidence in his project vision. It also helps to meditate every once in a while. And having meditated on the potato farm, Mumbo decides that it's producing more spuds than anyone on the server will ever need, but they're good for more than just calories. Setting up a dripstone farm for lava, he turns the storage wall into an auto furnace, which will provide him with passively farmed XP, which he'll definitely need if the end crystal PvP meta continues to escalate.
See?
No, I
Nearly
took
tickled.
I took loads of damage there. What?
Did you?
Yeah.
And that's about it for this week's recap. Our writer is LoyXP, and my name is PixelRiffs. If anyone needs me, you can find me fishing for Nautilus shells and tridents in a massive river biome drowned farm on the Empire's SMP. You can check that out in this week's End Screen Theatre. Don't forget to leave a like while you're still here and subscribe so you won't miss future recaps. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.